Beep, 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 beep. Welcome to the court of the EDI Jester. How you doing, our guys? How are you, Jesterites? How you doing, Jesterites? Buy me a coffee. Join as a Jesterite. Come on, you get it all up front then. I've uploaded loads lately because I want to do a catch-up. Oh, my God. Right, from I don't know when. So it's just like I've got so much to do and so much to get up for you to see. Because it's been incredible. I mean, the speed of what's going on. But I've got one that I'm really glad to get to because it's taken me a long time to get to it. But I'm glad it's... Because this is not like... Here's the news of the day. This is a really interesting, well put together series of tweets that I want to introduce you to, and that you can then go and read about because it is quite frankly phenomenal. And it's from Psych Girl 211, Dr. P. Dr. P. We already got a Dr. M. Now we've got a Dr. P. Where's Dr. N and Dr. O? Oh. Anyway, so here we go. Right? Oh, become a warrior teacher. Have I said that already? Buy me a coffee. Do something. Help me out. Right? End of the month has just gone. Let's talk about fake news. Gender dysphoria, says Dr. P, or Psych Girl 211. Links in the Dubras as usual so that you can go and follow good Dr. P and also read this extraordinary thread. Let's just have a look at it, shall we? Let's talk about fake news. Gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria was introduced into the DSM-5. Now, for those of you that don't know, that's the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, which is the one that decides what people, who's a nutter and who isn't, right? I'm being crass. It decides psychologically what's the issue, you know, what's going on. A mate of mine once went, because he wasn't too well, and they said that he had non-specific anxiety disorder. Right? That's what they told him. Like, really? So it was introduced into the DSM-5, gender dysphoria, in 2013 by trans activists. That's why I say we have to go back to the beginning. It replaced gender identity disorder, GID. GID had a high clinical threshold. It was classified as a psychiatric condition, i.e. an abnormal functioning of the mind, which is exactly what it is. A GID diagnosis was made by a psychiatrist and multidisciplinary team following a lengthy and detailed assessment process. By contrast, dysphoria simply means low mood. It can be diagnosed by anyone, including self-diagnosis by children. But GD is not real. Gender dysphoria is not real. It is merely the rebranding of well-known developmental, neurobiological and psychosocial conditions and factors that impact children. For example, autism, mood disorders, childhood sexual abuse, family dysfunction, divorce, school refusal, same-sex attraction, learning disabilities, etc. These conditions are all now subsumed under the aegis of gender. Do you get this? Right? So this idea of gender dysphoria, when these trans activists got it into the DSM, what is it? I have to look back now. When they got it into the DSM-5 in 2013, what they did was they took many conditions that you would consider having to look at with a child who was not very well, and they bundled them all into one thing and said, here's the answer. Here's the answer to all these issues. Here's the answer. So from 2013, that's when they did it. These conditions, as was already said by Dr. P, these conditions are all now subsumed under the aegis of gender. The child may indeed be feeling dysphoric, i.e. have low mood, but clinicians are ignoring all of the above possibilities and instead just looking at gender. They're ignoring same-sex attraction, learning disabilities, divorce, autism. They're ignoring all that. That's what's happening. They are thus making what psychologists call a misattribution here. A word worth understanding. A misattribution. A word worth understanding from Dr. P here. For example, when someone is having a panic attack, they feel faint, heart starts racing. Skin goes cold and clammy. People often think they're having a heart attack and are going to die. But they are not. They're just having a panic attack, right? They are instead misattributing these symptoms of panic to thinking they're dying. A major part of cognitive behavioural treatment for panic and other conditions is teaching people how to correctly attribute their physical symptoms or emotional sensations. So this is the cognitive behavioural therapy that other people have talked about, like Jonathan Haidt and Greg Lukianoff, and that we, to a certain degree, learn to not do in the Warrior Teacher Programme. A major part of the treatment, as I said, is to teach people how to correctly attribute those physical symptoms or emotional sensations, i.e. it's how to deal with yourself, how to not listen to your emotional demon sat on your shoulder. Gender dysphoria is a misattribution of feelings of distress or dysfunction caused by other factors. That's the important point. We've been saying this all along. That it's gender dysphoria. It's not. It'll be other factors. So gender dysphoria is a symptom. It is a phantom that sits on the shoulder of other problems. Psychologists, instead of carrying out exploratory therapy and teaching coping mechanisms, are colluding with their clients' dysfunctional thinking that they're the wrong gender. That's what's happening. It's exactly what's happening. Gender dysphoria is therefore not real. We should stop using this term. It is the language of a false clinical condition concocted by TRAs. Go back far enough, folks. It's all back down to the LARPing men with their cross-dressing. And the LARPing women. Dr. P says here, I prefer harmful transgender ideations, HTIs. It doesn't legitimize a falsehood and is self-explanatory. GD, gender dysphoria, was created to push gender ideology. It is a TRA-invented condition whose cure is stopping puberty, a fundamental development process, barbaric surgeries, sterilization, and lifelong drug dependency. Children have been turned into walking cash machines. Gender identity disorder, is real, but it's vanishingly rare. In 30 years as a clinical psychologist, I saw one child with probable gender identity disorder. GD, however, is a cynical manipulation, gender dysphoria, mainly of children who cannot possibly provide meaningful consent to gender healthcare. 13-year-olds shouldn't be cutting their breasts off because in reality they're depressed about their parents' divorce. 9-year-olds shouldn't be on puberty blockers because they're effeminate and like pink and Barbie dolls. By subscribing to the flawed concept of gender dysphoria, we are failing children. As of yesterday, gender dysphoric Norwegian 6-year-olds can officially change their sex. This is insanity. Their future will be puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, sterilization, and mutilation. We must do better by children. And one way is to not use the manufactured, deceitful, and dangerous gender dysphoria. Whenever we do so, we're giving legitimacy to a lie. Remember instead, harmful transgender ideations. Thank you for reading to the end. To illustrate how bad things are, I was contacted by an American mum whose severely autistic, non-verbal but cognitively intact 15-year-old son was diagnosed with gender dysphoria and prescribed estrogen on the basis of a 20 minutes text chat with a psychologist. Think about that. My thanks to Dr. P for a fantastic tweet and series of tweets, which I will include in the doobers as usual. I too have spoken to many parents whose children have been caught up in this cult, and they're still teaching it in English schools and schools in New Zealand and USA and Australia and France, and it's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. And we need somebody to make some declarative statements who's got some power. But until that, let's just keep changing minds, one person at a time. Thank you, Dr. P. See you later.